Hello, my name is Christian.
And I'm Tressa.
And welcome to the StartupBREW Fargo podcast. StartupBREW is a weekly event hosted by Emerging Prairie in downtown Fargo, where we believe entrepreneurship is energized over brews. Each week, we bring entrepreneurs, founders, and innovators together because we believe they succeed when they have access to each other and the community that supports them. This summer, StartupBREW will occur each Wednesday morning at Drecker Brewing.
This week, we welcomed Clayton Cottman, who is founder of Uncle Charlie's Gourmet Snacks, and Sara Lien, the founder of Paisley and Dash.
Clayton is the brains behind Uncle Charlie's Gourmet Snacks, an e-commerce gourmet snack company in downtown Fargo. Clayton has spent his career working with various chefs to produce savory snacks. Through his creativity, he found Snackcess in the Midwest. Uncle Charlie's Gourmet Snacks is best known for their delicious chocolate-covered snack, Charlie's Chow. Let's listen to what Clayton had to say.
Good morning, everyone. Now, this might come as a shock to some of you, but I'm not from North Dakota, right? I was originally born and raised in Washington, D.C. Now, you might be asking yourself, how does a guy from D.C. wind up making snacks in North Dakota? And I started to come up here, give you guys my sales pitch, which thanks to Jenny Sheets is rock solid now. Thank you for that, Jenny. Or I was going to talk about how thanks to the guidance and wisdom of people like Mike Vinson, Dan Hofflin, Dell Carver of the SCORE Mentorship Program, and the tenacious efforts of heroes of this business community, in my opinion, like John Mahacek of the EDC, and Paul Smith of the SBDC, our company has recently been approved for the Growth Initiative Fund from the City of Fargo. So I was going to talk about that a little bit. You can clap for that. Yep. Instead, I wanted to tell you guys a brief story about myself just to give you a little more insight as to who I am and why it is I do what I do. So, as mentioned, I grew up in Washington, D.C. in a neighborhood called Fort Lincoln Park. This is the Fort Lincoln Park. What eventually became my childhood neighborhood was originally built as part of the Civil War defense system of Washington, D.C. during the Civil War in the northeastern quadrant of the city. However, when I was growing up there, the ice cream truck that went to most neighborhoods for whatever reason did not venture down my block. You can deduce your own conclusion as to why that was, but luckily, I also grew up directly across the street from a 7-Eleven, which is a convenience store, chain of convenience stores popular on the East Coast. So as a kid, 7-Eleven was pretty much my ice cream truck. And just like any other kid, I knew that, there were certain things I could get away with by asking mom and certain things I could get away with by asking dad. And I knew that if I wanted snacks and I asked my mom, I was going to get maybe $5 max, right? Like my mom was more of the we've got McDonald's at home kind of mom, if you know what I mean. But I also knew that if I asked my dad, especially if he was watching the game, without even looking up, he would peel me off a crispy $20 bill, tell me, bring him back some Cheetos, and that would be that. So perfect opportunity arises. Mom's out running errands. So who do you guys think I asked? My dad, right? Of course, mission successful. He gives me the 20. I hop the fence out of the neighborhood, cross the busy street, and I get to the store, and now I'm like 11 years old in the store, big balling with my $20 bill, right? Grab a bunch of candy, chips, donuts, cookies, all the stuff that my mom would never, ever let me buy. I head back over to the cooler, and at this time, strawberry milk is like the cool new thing that was really popular. But this time I get to the cooler, and I see banana milk, and I'm just like, mind blown. I'm like, I gotta have this. I grabbed the banana milk, 6 ounces for $6. Seems like a good deal to me. I'm in. I go check out, and I'm leaving the store. I've got my bags of junk, and I'm heading back across the street. And I look, and I see my mom's minivan is back in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, no, she's going to see this. So I try to creep in the house. No dice. She sees me immediately. She sees my bag. She's like, what's in the bag, son? And so I give her the bag. She opens it, and she sees the banana milk, and she's like, banana milk? Clayton, what is this? And How much was it? $6? Clayton, I can get a whole gallon of milk from the grocery store for $3. What is this? And she's like, read the ingredients. And I try to read the ingredients out loud, and I'm like, monoglyceride, fructose, whatever. And she's like, exactly, Clayton. There aren't even any bananas in this. I can make a better banana milk than this. And I'm thinking like, Mom, come on, Sometimes as a kid, you just kind of want the cool thing from the store, right? No. She grabs the blender, her milk, a couple of bananas, her vanilla extract, sugar, blends it up, and pours me a glass of kind of like pulpy, kind of chalky, not yellow, banana milk of hers, right? And I'm like, Mom, this isn't the same thing. This is not the same. But she was adamant. She's like, Clayton, this is better. And she proceeded to have me write a letter to their corporate office and tell them who I am and ask them why there were no bananas in their banana milk, right? And about a month later, I get a letter back, basically says something to the effect of, Clayton, we got your letter. This was so cute. Everybody in the office read it. We're glad you're our little customer. They sent me a coupon booklet full of coupons, and I was pretty much the man amongst my friends for a couple of weeks after that. And so now I have a personal goal, and I don't care if it's just this one particular location. I have to get Charlie's Chow into 7-Eleven. And when I do, this will have all truly come full circle. But the reason I'm telling you guys this particular story is because as a food entrepreneur, if I had to pinpoint a particular instance or event that sort of sparked this culinary creative drive within me, right, it would be that experience with my mom. So credit to my mom, because part of what she taught me that day was to actually be disruptive, right, in the best way, and to never, ever accept the status quo, and that whatever is already out there on the market, whatever's already out there in the world, does not have to be the end-all, be-all, and that I can create something that's better than what's already out there and raise the bar for myself, raise the standard for everyone else. So 25 years later, here we are. So that's my story. Thank you, guys.
Tressa, have you tried the new key lime pie flavor?
You know what, Christian? I actually have, and let me tell you, it is incredible.
I would agree.
But on to our next founder. Sara Lien is the owner and founder of Paisley and Dash. Sara began her career in the financial industry. She loved having a side hustle, and when she was given an opportunity to make her passion a reality, Sara took a chance and became an entrepreneurial baker. Paisley and Dash is an e-commerce bake shop that ships cupcakes in a jar. The company has various flavors, each paired with almond buttercream frosting. Paisley and Dash strives to produce cupcakes that represent businesses. Let's listen to what Sara had to say.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm going to do this. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I have dreamed of moments like this where I've actually sat in audiences like this and dreamed of the moment where I'd have my own company and could stand on stage and tell my story. And so this is a kind of a full circle moment for me. Yeah, but don't let that fool you. That doesn't mean I'm not very nervous, so bear with me. I thought about bringing Paisley and Dash for moral support, my actual dogs, like you said, like Jenny said, but they're so cute. They're a little bit distracting. All right, so I brought that for two reasons, just so you can kind of have a visual of exactly what that is, because sometimes people ask me, like, what is Paisley and Dash? So we are an e-commerce bakery, and we ship cupcakes in a jar. And like you might have seen, it is 2 layers of cupcakes and 2 layers of frosting, nestled sweetly inside of a mason jar. And we package those up and ship them beautifully in our black and white signature packaging all over the U.S. Via 2-day shipping. There's 2 things that make Paisley and Dash special. You can't see it on that one because it's our logo, but we do print logos for companies on the top of the lid. And so it's very customizable. And the second part is our packaging. It's black and white. It's become a signature stamp for Paisley and Dash. And it makes for a very personal and beautiful gift. With that, we end up working with a lot of companies because we can personalize your logo. We can do a message. We have printed, somebody's close-up of their face. I mean, there's very specific things that we can put on the lid. So my story, kind of high level, how to squish it into 6 minutes. I'll go as fast as I can, Jenny. So formerly, like she said, I was a financial advisor for 15 years. That was a beautiful career that I enjoyed. I felt very fortunate to have it. But I always felt a calling for something much more creative. And I just knew that there was something that I couldn't let go. I knew there was always that spark inside of me that I knew I wanted to do something different. Though financial advising was a wonderful career, and it absolutely trickles into Paisley and Dash and what it is today. So the marketing idea, Paisley and Dash, how it came up as far as cupcakes in a jar, why cupcakes? It sprung from an actual marketing idea from another financial advisor in my office. He said, he knew I was creative, and he said, hey, Sara, can you, make something that that can be edible, so it's like a dessert, that it can be shipped anywhere in the U.S., and that has a wow factor it's very presentable. And I thought, okay, I can do that. So I did that, and I pitched it to him, and he loved it, and it kind of organically grew from there. So I did about a year and a half of double duty, working full-time as a financial advisor, and then starting this out of my basement and my home kitchen. And as you can imagine, that felt like 2 full-time jobs at the same time. And being a financial advisor wasn't, it's not a career you can dilly-dally in, right? We managed, millions of dollars every day. And I thought, okay, well, I gotta pick one here, and I gotta pick a career. 15 years later. And so that was not easy. I mean, I pick a career that I've worked for 15 years that was, cush and comfy, and I knew exactly what my paycheck was. I knew, benefits and 401k and insurance and travel and, all the good things. And do I give that up for something that is some creative company in baking and shipping, neither of which I knew. I mean, I dabbled into it, but I hadn't had any formal training on I did, when I was working as an advisor. And do I just do it, right? And you just did it. And a lot of people ask me, at what point did you know? And I'll tell you, you don't. You just don't. There's no sign. There's no right moment. I would sit, like I said, in an audience like this and listen to speakers and think, what's the sign? I mean, signs would come up and smack me in the face, and I still would be like, nope, I'm good. And just time went on, and I just thought, okay, I got to do it. I either got to do it or I don't. And thank goodness at the time, and I still do have the most amazing people in my life that are like my support. And my family, my parents, I think when I was trying to make that decision, my parents and my best friend Ashley, who was here, they were literally in the throes of the stress with me I think they were, just decide already. And I just did it. And I think, one thing that I would say to you is, not that I'm saying quit your day job, but I was just saying, have conviction and stick to it. Yeah, and I will say, I don't know, time. A quick funny story. So I baked out of Square One just down the block here. And about a week after I resigned, I was making buttercream one morning. And I was using the large 20-quart mixer. And I had just loaded 48 cups of powdered sugar in the 20-quart mixer. And went to hit start. And I did use this mixer several times before. But the previous person had left it on high. Yeah. So I hit start, and literally it was a powdered sugar war. I mean, there was powdered sugar in my eyelashes, in my ears, in my pockets. I looked like a powdered sugar donut. And all I could think of was, that saying of oh, don't quit your day job. And I was like, okay, I did that last Friday, so now what? So yeah, two quick things. I know I'm coming up on time here, but just kind of give you, it's not easy by any means. I mean, I will say there's definitely successes, but some challenges that I would say. A huge one is it's like technically two companies, right? So it's baking and shipping, neither of which are financial advising, but I just had to learn a lot very quickly. Fortunately, we grew faster than I thought and faster than I was anticipating, and I needed to learn how to make, multiply my recipes by X amount and 48 cups of powdered sugar, and then how to ship stuff fast, and how do I not make this break, when it shows up in Alaska, and it's, and oh, by the way, there's going to be a blizzard, when you're shipping, and oh, it's 102 degrees in Florida. Great. I mean, there just was so much like stuff that I didn't know, and I think you just have to do it because you can't really plan for that. So yeah. And also that there's no playbook. It's a relatively niche type product and business, right? As Clayton, with the e-commerce and being in the food industry, kind of smushing those together, it's definitely different. And coming from a corporate world where there's literally a playbook for everything, basically how to get from start to finish in your day, this was very different, although I enjoyed, figuring it out. It's definitely all the processes and systems that I have in place have been my trial error, and thankfully by a lot of people and resources that I have close to me. One of my aha moments was actually just recently, and it was on a Facebook comment, actually. I love social media. I can't say enough good about that. It's a huge way of how we grow Paisley and Dash. And I had posted a couple posts on the new building that we just built, which is finished building, and cupcakes and the design of it and the beauty of it. And one of the comments had said, Sara, you're doing exactly what you were meant to do. And I was like, okay. Not that you need a validation, but I just thought, okay. Some days I think like, oh my gosh, like what did I get myself into? And then some days I'm like, yeah, I got this. And the next day I'm like, how is this even literally working? Like, how am I paying my bills with cupcakes? And, then the next day it's like, okay, it's working. And so yeah, it's definitely an experience, and it's a joy. And would I do it all over again? Absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, that's just that's all I got.
After the presentation, we jumped into a live Q&A session with the audience, joined by our host, Jenny Sheets from the Emerging Prairie team. Let's listen in.
If you guys are getting the hint now after seeing me on stage for a while, I like treats on stage, or crowns. It's just treats or crowns, really. Amazing. All right, well, let's kick things off while you guys are opening up those packages with a win. Clayton, what's something you're celebrating lately?
Lately, I'm celebrating expansion. We're moving into more and more retailers, larger and larger retailers. As of recently, we partnered with Shields, so you guys can find our products in Shields here locally, the hardware store, the sporting goods store. So there's that.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is huge. Nice. Sara, what about you? What are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating that we have a new home for Paisley and Dash.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Huge.
Yeah, we've been baking, like I said, down the street for 2 years and shipping out of my basement. So building our own facility that we own that is our commercial kitchen, our packaging and shipping facility, and then also a retail space.
Love it.
Yeah.
I saw pictures. Go follow her on Instagram. It is stunning. It really is gorgeous. And
Thank you.
what I love about this community is that just this weekend I was in O'Day Cache and got to talk to Cindy, the owner of O'Day Cache, about you purchasing one of these huge pieces that came over from where?
India.
From India.
Yes.
That you got to repurpose for your store.
Yes.
So getting to talk to her about your shop, it's just really cool. So
Yeah.
congratulations
Yeah.
to both of you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, while you're opening up those treats, let's open it up to the audience. You guys have some questions? Yes. Can you repeat that
yeah.
and explain maybe for the audience, just for the live stream?
Yeah, great question. So my product is in a mason jar, right? And with COVID and the logistical supply chain issues, how did that affect Paisley and Dash? So that was a huge, it was about a year into it when the shortage happened. And I actually had to pivot to a plastic jar because I have 2 suppliers that I use on both coasts, and they were like, 8 months behind. And, of course I panic because, if I was a full-on bakery, that would be one thing. I could have other products to, kind of fill in, but I got one thing. I just thought, oh my gosh. So I pivoted to a plastic jar for about 4 or 5 months, and I actually really liked that one. It was logistically a lot lighter for me to haul around my house and my basement and my kitchen. But then there was a shortage on plastic. So then I pivoted back to glass. And I prefer glass because it's a little more of a higher end product. And it's more of a statement piece, I think. But yeah, it was not easy. It was definitely a struggle.
That is tough. That's courageous to say, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I had in mind. But I'm going to keep producing. So we're just going to pivot. We're going to go to plastic now. So Great question.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, Duncan. So shipping question about breakables, 2-day shipping. Walk us through the logistics.
Yeah. Shipping is a conundrum to me. I don't know how it works. It just works. But how I did it was I reached out to somebody at FedEx. So I ship exclusively with FedEx, the Purple Heart. They kind of educated me on what I needed to do because, again, I didn't know how to do any of that. When the first one I shipped, oh my goodness, I went to Hobby Lobby and I got this styrofoam divider, right? And I cut it in a cross, it was all snuggled in there, and I'm like, okay, it's not gonna break. And then I thought, it weighed 15 pounds because the first jar was actually a pint-sized jar, which is a lot of cake, so way too big. I mean, it's never too much cake for me. I'll eat cake every day, all day. But basically, FedEx was very helpful, and they said if you can squish it into an X-size box, you would do a 2-day shipping everywhere in the country. And then, so it's evolved from there, but it's definitely been a process.
Clayton, I've got a question for you. I'm curious. So you have a wide assortment of flavors. Can you tell us some of those flavors, or all of them, and how you came up with some of them? I would never guess would be in this,
Yeah,
tell us about that.
So far we've got about 7 flavors, right? So we've got everything from, I'll try to name them all. We've got brownie truffle, we've got red velvet cake, we've got cotton candy, we do a banana split, we do orange creamsicle, we do peanut butter cup, as well as key lime pie. So those are our 7 flavors right now. We're trying to kind of wind it down to 3 or 4, but basically to come up with the flavors, it was a process. It was a lot of, as I've mentioned before, a lot of taste testing, a lot of analyzing the data, like what are people gravitating to, what flavor profiles do people gravitate to, and is it seasonal, what works in what season, what region of the country, like what works where. So we started out with these 5 flavors just kind of as a launch pad to kind of see what people would like, right? And eventually we added 2 more flavors, key lime pie and peanut butter cup. So those were our newest additions, but we kind of went backwards, right? You would think peanut butter cup first, but that was our very last flavor. So
wow. So I can say this. You can't say this. So it's puppy chow is what it is. He can't say it because Purina has that trademarked, right?
Correct.
So it's like puppy chow. Yeah. But I would never imagine banana split puppy chow. Yeah. Where did that come from?
Jenny, honestly, it just kind of hit me, inspiration-wise. I had a feeling that a combination of flavors in puppy chow would go across well, and I'm thinking, what's a kind of savory dessert that everybody should like, right? And that has a few flavors. So you've got banana split, you've got the taste of banana, vanilla ice cream, chocolate, strawberry, and it's all in there, right? And kind of like, it's like Dippin' Dots ice cream meets puppy chow, if you will.
Yeah. I like, and that's the one you have here?
Yeah.
We'll prove it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
this let's see. Yeah.
This is our banana split. And I've got a special surprise for you guys afterwards. I bought you some cases of Charlie's Child, so if you're quick, you might be able to get a bag or two of banana split back there after this is done. So.
How exciting. Thank you, Clayton. That is awesome.
Yep.
All right, well, wait, come on.
Oh.
It's all right. Do we have any other questions? Yes, Eric. Ooh, I'd love to hear from both of you on that one. How did you develop your brand in a tough market? The snack food treat industry there's a lot of competition. How did you develop your brand to stand out?
Yeah, well, I'll go first. Our branding is authentic. Like, this is named after my great uncle Charles, and I named the company after him. He was a war hero, World War II hero, and things like that. Did a lot of things in the community as far as mental health initiatives for people and things like that. But and I won't go into the story too much here, but my great aunt Thelma would make these cheesecakes that were exclusively for Uncle Charles, and you just couldn't have it. You didn't even ask because you knew you wouldn't, right? And so in the back of my mind as a culinarian, I've always kept that, like that sort of exclusive, like, this is off limits, obviously something special. And when we created Uncle Charlie's Gourmet Snacks, I gave the name to him, but I wanted to focus on recreating that nostalgic, gourmet, homemade, special for you made flavoring, like that sort of thing is what I wanted to bring back. So that's the kind of story behind our actual branding. So a lot of people think my name's Charlie, I'm Clayton, so yeah, that's the story.
Sara, what about you? How do you stand out?
There we go. Okay. I think like at the beginning, I knew that I always wanted a Paisley and Dash. Like I said, they're my dogs. I didn't know it was going to be cupcakes. I thought it would be maybe a design because I also love that. But I always knew the name would be Paisley and Dash, and I always loved black and white. Number one, I love it, and it's classic, but I also thought I knew I could pair it with like any logo or any other color if I needed to. So it could be versatile with other companies' logos. It could kind of blend in, but also stand out on its own. And the packaging, at Christmas, my family always knows which presents are from me because I just love to make them pretty and beautiful. So that was just my thing. I just loved it. And to kind of differentiate, I would say, Paisley and Dash as a brand, I've tried to stay, consistent in terms of, our social media, the different platforms that we're on. I think just being consistent in, the flavor that you put out there of how you take your pictures and, what you post on there and just staying consistent with that. And part of it, too, is I think Paisley and Dash as a brand is more than just a cupcake, and it's more also become part of my story, too. So you can only take so many pictures of a cupcake jar, right? I mean, like I said before, as a full-on bakery, there's a million beautiful food pictures that you can take, but a cupcake kind of get creative. So yeah, just staying consistent.
I love that. Both the names and stories are really authentic to both of you. They mean something to you, and I think that's the big differentiator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably have time for two more, and I'll just get this ready while we're continuing. Billy. That's a great question. Who are your taste testers? I think you have somebody offering out there. And who do you trust? Who do you guys have taste these?
Well, as Jenny mentioned, our company is very, very lean right now, so I don't have a lot of taste testers. I would love to do like focus groups and things like that to develop new flavors, see what works on the market. I think we got a volunteer back there. Yeah, but moving forward, we would like to do things like that. For focus groups with people from the community that may be able to offer some insight or requests for flavors and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. I have, it just would be me at the beginning, and like my clothes got real tight, real fast. And so I was like, ooh, even when I taste test my frosting, I would take like a teaspoon, and now I do like a toothpick. But when I do have a new flavor coming out, there's a couple taste testers over there that have definitely helped me out. There was a new flavor we're coming out this summer, and I ate, I'll just kind of spoiler alert, Oreos for like a week straight. Ooh. Breakfast, dinner, lunch, I was eating Oreos. So yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. It's definitely
I'm sure you have a lot of volunteers here. Emerging Prairie's Prairie Den will now be the new Taste Kitchen. So come on down. All right, we got time for one more question. John, right here. So Clayton got approved for the loan through the EDC Growth Initiative Fund.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Absolutely.
$50,000 right here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Congratulations.
Well, that's pretty hard to beat. That's amazing. Well, let's thank them both for coming up here, for spending the day with us. Thank you, guys. Let's give it up for Clayton and Sara.
That's all we have for this week's StartupBREW Fargo. Thanks for listening in. StartupBREW Fargo is energized by Emerging Prairie, an organization dedicated to connecting and celebrating the Founders ecosystem. Thank you to Emerging Prairie's annual partners and Founders Ecosystem partners. See you next time.
And go do something amazing.